Hello students! I am teacher Hannah and I am assigned to discuss to you on how to construct modulo art for grade 8. The modulo art for grade 8 or level 2 is called the converging segment. But before we start, these are the materials that you need to prepare. A plain white cartolina, a pencil, ruler, and crayons. The first thing that you have to do is to get the biggest square in your cartolina. So let us assume that this is a cartolina. In getting the biggest square, you are going to fold it this way and fold also this part of your cartolina. And this is now the biggest square. Let us now proceed in the grid construction of your modulo art. Given that this is the biggest square in your cartolina, you are going to divide it into 4 quadrants. So this is now the quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Next, you are going to divide each quadrant into 15 by 15 equal squares. Let us have, for example, in quadrant 1. This is the 15 by 15 equal squares in quadrant 1. Next, quadrant 2. The same with quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. But take note that these squares are just your guide for the grid construction. Do not write it permanently. Now, let us use the quadrant 2 for our pattern. Starting on the right part of quadrant 2, we will use one column for the first vertical line of our grid. Next, 2 columns for the second vertical line. Then 4 columns for the third vertical line. And 8 columns for the fourth vertical line. Next, let us start at the lower part of quadrant 2. Again, we are going to use 1 row for the first horizontal line of our grid, 2 rows for the second horizontal line, 4 rows for the third horizontal line, and 8 rows for the fourth horizontal line. And you can now erase the squares. So this is now our grid for the quadrant 2. And this will be the look of our grid in quadrant 1, quadrant 4, and quadrant 3. In grade 8 modulo art, we are going to use modulo 4 addition. And this will be our pattern. We will use this pattern for the arrangement of designs in our modulo art later. Let us have again the quadrant 2. And this is the pattern. We have 0 here, 1, 2, and 3. Next, 1, 2, 3, 0. Then 2, 3, 0, 1. And 3, 0, 1, 2. Next, we are going to apply this pattern to other quadrants in a rotation order. So as you can see, the pattern in quadrant 2 is rotated in a clockwise direction in quadrant 1, quadrant 4, and quadrant 3. Now, let us proceed to the legend of your modulo art. Take note that you are going to create your own design for each legend. And I have here an example. This is the legend for 0, 1, 2, and 3. Next, we are going to use the design of the legend 0 in all the 0 in our modulo. Next, let us use the legend 1, legend 2, and legend 3. Then repeat this process in all the quadrants. So this is now the final look of our modulo art. I hope that you learned and understood our discussion on making modulo art for grade 8, and you will enjoy in making your own modulo arts. Before we end, I will show you more examples of designs in grade 8 modulo art.